I'm Miriam Joy and welcome to my studio. Today we're going to show you how to make these really fun tea light Easter eggs. And we're going to put a little tea light into them. We kind of give them a glass look. We'll show you how to do that and it's going to be so much fun, so let's get started. Okay, we're going to start with our balloons, and these are the little small balloons. These are the ones that you make water bombs out of. So you can pick up, I think they're 100 in a bag at the dollar store, and blow it up just as big as you want your piece. And I want these pieces smaller, and you can do different sizes. You have your different embroidery floss that you can use, but you're probably going to have to use more than one. So if you were doing a multicolored one like the one we have here, that would be fine to use as well. So you've got all those different options. And when I go to thrift stores, I look for embroidery thread. They seem to have it quite a bit because it's kind of considered an older craft that was used a while ago. So these seem to appear really inexpensive at the thrift stores. So look for fun colors there. Now I'm going to be doing mine a little bit different. When you're working with Mod Podge, you roll it, not shake it. You don't get the bubbles. And we're going to put just a light layer on, and this is going to hold our first thread piece on. And I'm working on a tray. You could work on a piece of paper or whatever to keep your Mod Podge, because it ends up being like glue off of everything else. And we want kind of a wet layer here. You don't want it to dry out before you get your thread on it. So, and I use an old brush. I probably use my old yucky brushes more than I do my new nice ones. So, now, unless you want to cut the top off, try to go over the top of the little part there. And if you try to put the thread on before you put the Mod Podge on, it's just going to slip around and it's not going to do very fun. And I'm going to throw my thread on the ground and just start wrapping. And I like mine pretty thick, and there's all kinds of ways you can do it. That's totally up to you. We can do it straight up and down, kind of like that. And like I said, if you want to cut that guy and have a hole in the top, you can, but if not, get him covered down. I'm still not there yet. So you can pull him out later without having a hole there. And like I said, putting the Mod Podge on first just holds that really, really well. Instead of having to run your Mod Podge or your thread through the glue or starch or whatever you're using, this just holds it in place. We're going to do that a little bit later, and the Mod Podge stays behind, and like I was saying in the beginning, it kind of gives it a stained glass look. And I like to have mine a little bit thicker thinner on the thread, and there's some really cool variegated ones thread out there. There's a purple and white that I love. So if you want something like that, go to your local craft store and just look for those. But if, like I said, if you had done this before we put any on here, you'd be slipping and sliding and your thread would not stay on by itself. So, and once you decide that you've got on as much as you want, and I kind of look at my spool here, go ahead and end it. And what I'm going to do is just take my Mod Podge, and I'm really going to apply it on. You not only want to get the first layer, but you've got to get down there and get all of those layers. So it's important to get that really lots and lots of Mod Podge on there. And don't be afraid to just really apply it. And once that dries, you're going to see you get that Mod Podge that looks like glass through it. So that's how that is different from that. So set him aside once you've got him all coated. Let him really, really dry, and then we'll take it from there. Another thing is, once you've got this all covered up, don't set it straight down. Put it on something like this guy with a circle that's opening so it just barely touches, and continue to let it dry. And you may have to flip it over so that bottom part can dry as well. Once this guy is completely dry, we're going to decide which way we want him to go on our candle stand. If you want him to go that way, or if you want him to go that way, don't forget you're going to cut the bottom part off. So I want the point more up at the top, and I've tucked his end in, so hopefully I can grab a hold of that without carrying a hold. Don't worry if we dented him in a little bit while we were working on him. So now we kind of want to make sure we have him kind of standing up as much as possible and nice and even as we can get it. And we're going to kind of use our tea light as a pattern here, and we're going to draw around that with our white charcoal pencil, so that'll show up. I don't think a regular pencil would show up. We want this cut out just enough that your tea light is going to set right in there. And I'm going to be using my little tiny scissors with a little tip of a curve to the left, and they're really strong. And I think therefore, they're not, some craft scissors, if they have the curve left, but I think they're fingernail scissors, but they're made really strong. But you can cut to the left, and they make them nice for a curve. So we're going to see if it fits over our light, and we're not quite there because we don't want to have to push on our light. We have to remember with the tea light, this is when you can go in and push it all out. And we're also going to grab our balloon out of there. I'm going to go ahead and deflate him and see if I can get him out of that top. So I'm going to have to grab my tweezers or pliers and pull him out of that top. And that's okay. We'll get that in just a minute here. But kind of smooth them out. But the tea light's got to be able to turn on and off. So you can't glue it in. You've got to be able to access it. So, and it's just going to fit right there. We need just a little bit more. Make sure you try not to cut it too much on one side to make him kind of tilted. We want to keep him as even as we can. We're almost there. Yeah, I think actually I'm going to leave that right there. Now, another thing I'm going to do, I know this guy sticks up, but we're going to put a little bit of a ribbon on to help keep the candle from going all the way in once it's inserted. So I found this cute little pom-pom ribbon, and it doesn't have to be pom-poms, just anything, any type of ribbon that kind of sticks out and probably is gathered. You wouldn't want a flat ribbon. It just wouldn't look right. So any of your, probably, I found this in the Easter section at Walmart this year, but anything, probably measure by the yard. Joann's might carry it at your fabric store. You could just get a little bit of it that way, however you wanted to do it. But I just think this is really, really cute. And I'm hot gluing it on just around the edges. Try and stay away from any of the openings or the buttons as much as possible. And I probably shouldn't have started it right there by my switch, but that's okay. Just don't try to cover up that switch. And you want to do the pom-pom where they're not overlapping, they're just bumped up next to each other. So we're going to cut that guy there. And just finish gluing him on. The candle in place, but the keyword is removable. And my other ones come to points on my glass candle holders. And if you go to the craft or to Dollar Tree to pick those up, I do like the point ones better than the circle ones. These guys kind of have a point, and they're easier, I think, to kind of set these on. So think about that as you purchase them. I have another one here. Let me see if he's a point. And he is. I just didn't get his bottom cleaned out. Let's see how he has a point. I like him better, and he'd be easier to do the removable glue dots on every other one. And that's just going to help hold it in place, but you'll be able to pull them off as well. And you can cut your removable glue dots in halves or even fours. So, and then you can just switch this guy on, and you can go ahead and set him on, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and get his bow ready. And this guy is sitting up pretty nice and straight. And instead of decorating the egg, we're just going to do a little bit of a nice bow. And I found these paper roses at Michael's, or they probably have them at any of your craft stores. Let's see which way I want my cut part to go here. So, and how big you want that, and I'm going to test that with my rose here. And you don't have to use that. You could use anything you wanted to kind of decorate them up. I just thought with the little pom-poms, this kind of gave it a little bit of a romantic feel, but I'm still using the bright spring ribbon colors, and want to make sure that it's big enough for the egg, but not too big that it gets overwhelmed. I'm going to do it just a tad bit bigger just for the flower that I'm putting into it. And we're going to cut these at, so that slant's going that way, so I have to think about this for a minute. When I put on the bar spot here, I have to stop and think. And I'm going to put these on with a pipe cleaner, and this is just the same color as the ribbon, whatever you want to do. And I'm going to go ahead and hot glue my rose in the middle of it. Just make it your own. Just take the basic idea and make this your own. And if you need to bend that up just a little bit. Now this guy is just going to sit right above that little shelf part there, and just trim him off and push those down. And we have that guy done, and all we're going to do is put this guy, actually I think I'll try setting him on the glue dots first. Remember, they are removable. And just working with this guy just a little bit. I know he fits, and I probably could open him just a tad bit more up even just to get him all the way on. But isn't that a real fun look? And then you have your Easter candles. Now, I like them variegated heights. I don't like them all the same height. And you can do that with the wood pieces. And I like the wood pieces under the different ones. So you could stack them 1, 2, and 3 to make them different heights. And I think giving them the wood look, and we do have the wood slices at miriamjoy.com as well for you if you need any of those. But it gives it kind of a earthy, kind of springy feeling as well. We finished up all of our little tea lights, and I also wanted to show you a couple little other things. On this one, at the very end, while the Mod Podge was still drying, I added a little bit of real fine glitter to that, and I think that even gives it a really, really cool effect as well. Also, come over and check out our stained glass Easter eggs, and this would be awesome with a tea light in it as well. So there's a lot of fun things that we have going on. Make sure you give us a thumbs up on our YouTube and subscribe so you can see all of these exciting videos as we have them for you. Have a blessed Easter.